Vessel Gallery is popular among collectors from all around the world. And today I am meeting Chris, a glass artist whose work has a very political stance. We will reflect on his work and solo exhibition displayed at the gallery.
Well, most of the pieces are dealing with enslavement and brutality, segregation, equality, racial divide. All these aspects I try and put into the work to try and engage with a bigger audience that's out there. Ever since the Biennale in 2019, where I first met Angel, he was one of the judges. It was just unfortunate that it was at a time when George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. It was the right time, but the wrong time. George should have never happened. But there's been loads of Georges, throughout history, and this story has never really been told or settled. Well, when I started to produce this kind of work, is that I didn't want to scare people, and I thought that was an easy way of getting to people to talk about a subject that's quite hard. Looking at a beautiful object, but that object actually having a bad resonance about it. It was nice to see people's reactions at the Biennale in 2019 in Stanbridge with Strange Fruit. So I had pieces that were hanging from nooses, but I had this really beautiful, interesting looking glass at the end of the tether. And people didn't really understand what it was until I think they read the artist's statement, but they was enticed by these things hanging. So people were quite drawn in by the hooks and the ropes, but then when they read the artist's statement, it told them the horrors what I was trying to say. And everybody's got their own story which they can put towards art. People come up to me and say, although it relates back to slavery or it relates back to discrimination or oppression, actually it resonates with me. I was abused as a child, or the Holocaust. It's all about humans being bound and being subjected to things that are quite oppressive. It could be something like what we're going through now with COVID. We're all being segregated. We've got a restriction of movement, the same as what happened with slavery. So what's happening today in society with COVID? Back in the 18th century, that was even worse. It weren't a matter that you can't, it's just that you will not. You have no choice. You would be shipped from Africa, you would be shoved on the plantations, and you will do this or else you'll die, and that was it. I think everybody feels uncomfortable talking about it, and it doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on. It is a hard conversation to have, this conversation that's going to be said. Whereas if it's just in books or if it just goes on the news, it's like this quick injection of it and then it'll just go away. But if we can, through art especially, it's a great way of talking about things that are happening in the world. And it resonates with everybody. Not a lot of people, I'm dyslexic, so not a lot of people can sit down and read a book, whereas they'll perhaps look at a picture or an image and they can take a lot from just that image. And arts, I think it's amazing for doing that. You don't have to be intellectual to look at something and either admire it for what it is or look at it to see what it's telling. I think I've always tried to do something different. I like to use all different objects in with the glass. I've started using a lot of metal work, and I like to recycle as well. So the copper that I use, it is recycled copper. And now I've started finding bits of metal and chains and rebar, which is used in construction. All these different elements I'm putting into these sculptures. It's a matter of trying to find different pieces of metal and rope and copper that will engage with each other as a structure, a deconstruction, and then a reconstruct. So this journey has just been myself and Angel and the University of Wolverhampton. They've been fundamental in my development. They've managed to hone me in and give me these tools to produce this work, which I never even thought I was going to do that kind of work. I thought I was going to produce perhaps basins or toilets, being a plumber, or some sort of engineering picture. But
do you think you are leaving a legacy behind you?
I suppose I am, in one way. I mean, 2 pieces have gone to museums, so what I've produced, it will be there for ever and a day. But through this journey, I've become this storyteller. It's hard to say that you're trying to make a change when you're only just beginning to find out that you can produce work that people are interested in.